All right, what's going on, guys? It's Seth and Chevy here, and we're here to talk about the Mugen Train Arc of Demon Slayer. We just finished it. We are already moving into, I'm told, the Entertainment District arc. I know nothing about it, but I've watched the first episode of it, so we're heading in. But we have finished Mugen Train, and we are going to review it today. When I'm talking about Mugen Train, I am talking about the actual series and not the movie that came out. I haven't watched that, and I've talked to so many people now that pretty much make it sound like I don't need to watch it at all. And after watching this, I kind of feel like they did just make the movie episodic almost. So we'll get into that. And yeah, so the plan is to finish out the second season of Demon Slayer. In case you're interested, we will also review that part of it as well, and hopefully we'll be ready for Demon Slayer Season 3 whenever that comes out. But then after this, I think we're going to do Jujutsu Kaisen, however you say it, because I want to check that out. And then in the fall, I'm looking forward to watching Chainsaw Man. We have done a reaction to that, so make sure to check that out. And Cyberpunk, I'm really interested in. But apparently there's a bunch of shit coming out this fall. A lot of people on TikTok were telling me they're really excited for Bleach.
Good.
Which was interesting.
Because I've been in the wrong part of TikTok, apparently.
Yeah. Well, apparently people who are finding me are like, I like Bleach. And I'm like,
that's great.
That's cool, because I only watched the first 2 seasons of it, I think. Which is kind of crazy.
I don't think you even finished the second season.
Yeah, maybe not. I feel like I watched quite a bit of it, though, for at the time. There was only like 3 seasons, maybe? I don't remember. It was a long time ago. Bleach has been out for a long time. It's crazy to think that...
Started in 4-3 resolution.
It's crazy to think that it's still going on or coming back. Whatever the fuck the situation there is.
Coming back.
Yeah.
To finish it.
Yeah. Really interesting. Because I remember you telling me that they had stopped.
The anime had stopped.
Yeah.
A similar thing happened with like Hunter x Hunter and Berserk.
Yeah.
Where the writing isn't like super fast, and what are they going to do? Just keep making filler over and over and over again? And they tried that with Bleach, and about like 40 to 50% of the show is filler. And so instead of like dealing with that, they just stopped. And now...
That's kind of respectable.
Yeah.
Because nobody likes filler. I've never met a fucking person who likes filler.
Well, it's also kind of like a format that almost no animes do. Like, some still obviously do a weekly, like a year-round weekly format, but most seem to do like a like seasonal content now, which I much prefer. Don't get me wrong, I love being able to watch One Piece every week, but I like understand that not everyone can write at the speed that Oda does. So
yeah, I've heard. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, I think the show is like, I'm gonna throw 2 numbers out there because I can't remember. It's either 9 or 19%. I think it's like 9% filler versus like shows like Naruto and Bleach are like 40-50% filler. So
yeah, which is kind of a given for me when it comes to those kind of formatted shows. I expect filler. So if something doesn't have much filler, congrats, but not every creative mind is the same.
Exactly.
So,
yeah. And then with the whole Bleach thing, it's just the manga's been over, so they're wrapping it up, and then enough interest was there for the show to return, which I'm thrilled about, because I'm not a manga reader, so the story was left unfinished for me. So
yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with Berserk. I'm hoping they will pick that back up. Hopefully, increase the quality of some of the animation. Some of it was really good. But yeah, I'm on the same page because I would like to continue with that in animation form. But enough of that talk. Let's talk about what we watched, which was Mugen Train Arc of Demon Slayer. Quick recap. Basically, Tanjiro and company are sent to investigate the Mugen Train, where things are happening, demon stuff. Rengoku, is that his name? Is also there, and we get a really interesting kind of intro to his dynamic and his very honor-bound view on the world, with how he interacts with the early situation of a demon fucking around the train station with a grandma and her grandchild, it seems. He gets on the train, everybody gets on the train, and we go on this journey of trying to figure out what the fuck is even going on the train. Well, we find out eventually that I think their name was Enmu. The
can't
fucking
remember
the
now.
lower rank demon guy that
The last surviving one.
the last survivor that Mugen didn't kill, injected stuff into him, his blood, to juice him up, and he's sent out to take care of the demon slayers. So yeah, he's on this train. Apparently, he's doing an interesting thing where he's kind of planning on feasting on the people on the train, but he has these little cohorts who are all dealing with their own personal things. He's kind of feeding off their weakness to get them to try and do some Inception shit.
He stole their dreams.
Yeah,
They can't
yeah.
dream anymore.
Yeah, but some of them had like sicknesses and stuff too.
The one guy did, yeah.
Yeah. I thought somebody else that did too, but maybe I missed the note on that. But anyway, so yeah, they end up putting all the demon slayers to sleep. I think with the ticket, he said.
He put his blood in the ticket.
Yeah. And then these people go in and they try and find their cores and destroy them, and we get a really interesting fun. So it's really interesting. Like before watching this season or this arc, everybody's like Mugen Train, the Mugen Train arc. I'm like, it's a fucking arc about a train.
Right.
Like who cares? Like fucking, that's a 3-episode arc at most. It's pretty short, but it's not that short. But there's a lot more going on here. They do a lot of really fun, creative stuff. And it starts with the Inception thing, where people are going into people's minds and trying to find the cores and destroy them. And you get to see everybody's own inner self. Yeah. The way that they are dreaming and seeing things, and, possibly we get to explore their nightmares as well and how things work. But you get to see also how the body and the person in the mind get to try and defend themselves, which is a really interesting thing. Rengoku actually has a physical defense that happens while he's under that I thought was really interesting, kind of boasting how badass this dude is. Whereas Tanjiro is slowly but surely finding out that something's up and has to commit to some pretty intense shit to get out of his dream state, which comes into play later, which is really kind of crazy. Inosuke's whole thing is very kind of dark. He's just fucking running around a cave, like chasing after people and doing crazy shit.
Leading his party.
Yeah, it's really, really weird stuff. I really love. Eventually, it's almost like antibodies finding something in the body and trying to reject it because, like,
Good way to word it.
oh no, oh god, what's his fucking name? Zenitsu. His whole defense is really ridiculous. It's fucking somebody shows up in there and he's wondering where fucking Nezuko is at, and I forgot what he said exactly.
So, the dream part is like constructed from I can't remember the dude's name. The demon though.
Enmu.
Yeah, and the core area is like the inner self and like how their soul looks essentially. And when that male human breaks in there to go for the core, he senses that it's not Nezuko, and that basically that holy place is only for Nezuko.
Yeah, exactly. And so he almost becomes like a horror movie monster. He's like this ghost that just kind of shows up and he starts freaking out. And I thought it was fucking hilarious. So anyway, this plan doesn't go as planned. It was also fun to kind of see. It was a lot more sentimental with Tanjiro's whole experience because he's revisiting his family and then having to realize that he has to let this go. This isn't real, as much as that sucks to return to them and be like, oh, this ain't fucking real. And he has to kill himself to get out of his dream state, which is really intense. But it's interesting, the guy who invades his subconscious meets his inner core, and it's just like warmth and light and like, welcoming little entities that are like
ghost versions of him almost,
that are being like really nice to the invader and stuff, and he's just like, holy fuck, like what am I doing? Which speaks to Tanjiro's very good guy nature, which I thought was very fitting. So yeah, things get crazy from there. They all wake up. They take care of the people who were essentially being manipulated to do this, and they decide that they have to essentially find Enmu. They don't know his name at the time, but the really crazy thing is we end up finding out that the train itself is the demon. Tanjiro goes up and he fights Enmu a little bit, which is interesting.
Yeah, before they all wake up, he realizes.
Yeah, I skipped that. Yeah,
to stop it, and he hops up there
because everybody else is like still sleeping, trying to wake them up and shit.
Yeah, and he goes up there and confronts him, and that's when he learns about his abilities.
Which were already at that point met with a really cool, very well animated fight scene. Then eventually everybody wakes up. The train starts to become its actual form, and Enmu is deciding to eat these people and really enjoy that after he takes care of his dudes who are after him. Rengoku comes up with an idea where he wants everybody to kind of split up. It's Zenitsu and Nezuko in one area. He's going to hold off like 5 carts on his own, and he sends Tanjiro and Inosuke to essentially find the neck, the spine, to sever it, because that's what you got to do to kill the demons. So yeah, they go up there, they find it, they fucking essentially go through a boss battle out of a video game. Very interesting that there's a really, really cool scene I loved where constantly Tanjiro, even on the fight when he was fighting Enmu, he's getting like put to sleep but waking up, and the way they animated the snapback was really good, but then also showing that he's doing the same thing over and over again when he falls asleep, and he's cutting his own throat over and over again. I'm like, that's fucking crazy. That's a fucking brutal situation. But it just shows kind of the determination of Tanjiro. That happens again when they're doing the boss battle, but it's really interesting. There's these eyes that are like, putting him to sleep, and he's doing that shit. But they try to do it to Inosuke, and he's got his fucking boar head on, and it can't really read where his eyes are at, so it's not as effective. He's just fucking doing his thing, going at it. And they coordinate together. They're able to open it up and fucking chop the bitch. And then after that, the conductor guy comes out, stabs fucking Tanjiro.
Yeah, he goes to stab Inosuke, and Tanjiro jumps in the way.
Yeah. And that was fucked up. So they knock him out, because that's just what they do with these people. And yeah, the train fucking crashes. Right?
So
I'm forgetting the fucking step in between there.
So the pillars of ice show up after the conductor stabs him, and during his mass waking up, he almost does it in real life, and Inosuke stops him.
Which is really cool.
He's like, no, this is real. Don't do that.
Because he's doing it over and over and over again. And then in real life, he's about to do it, and he's just like, whoa.
Yeah. And then they coordinate. One person breaks the train, the other person, Tanjiro, cuts the spine, and then the crash of the train happens, because at that point, because the demon had infused his blood into the train to become the train, that was severing the head of it.
So again, level with me, because I'm going into this thinking like Mugen Train. Who cares? You're on a train. That's just the setting. But then it turns into Inception. Then it turns into, well, the train is the enemy. It's like, that's fucking crazy. Then they crash the bitch, and they defeat Enmu, and I'm like, that was it? You got him, cool. That didn't seem that bad. Then a whole new fucking guy shows up that I'm not expecting. Akaza, I think his name was.
Number 3.
This dude's apparently on the upper ranks, so this is my first introduction to an actual upper rank demon, I believe. I've only seen the lower rank so far.
I think you might have actually. I can't remember if they showed.
Well, they showed a silhouette of them.
Yeah.
But I mean, to actually see characteristic personality, stuff like that. And this is where it gets really interesting, because it's already interesting that they went this route. But then I wasn't expecting them to throw in a whole new dude outside of this Enmu guy, who I thought would be a bigger deal. But this Akaza guy is the bigger deal. He shows up. And Tanjiro's all fucked up like he always is. He's always getting fucked up in these fights, crawling around trying to get back in the fight. And yeah, I forgot how him and Rengoku ran into each other, but him and Rengoku have this whole conversation.
Yeah, he shows up and he looks over because Rengoku was teaching Tanjiro how to close his wound with breathing.
That's the part I forgot.
And then he goes to leap at Tanjiro to kill him because first off he's down, but second of all he sees the earrings and all the demons were told to kill the demon slayer with the earrings. Goes to kill him. And Rengoku blocks it. Then the dialogue begins. So.
Yeah, where he's telling him essentially that he's just gonna die anyway, so he should become a demon. He's got this power and stuff, and he's not gonna be able to reach his ultimate potential as a human because he's limited.
He'll get old and start rotting, pretty much.
Yeah, they kind of trade a bit of philosophy of their own personal philosophies, where the demons embracing like, hey, you can be more powerful, you can just be like us, we could fight forever, all that kind of shit. He was really into that, which is always a fun archetype in a lot of Japanese stuff. The dude who just wants to fight all the time. But yeah, Rengoku is not of that mindset. He's sworn to his duty.
Demon's bad.
The idea of being immortal is not appealing to him, or being around forever. And then it's that part's already really good, but then the fight that happens between them ensues, and it's really good. Animation top notch. I'm not surprised that this was a movie. It looks like a fucking movie. A lot of the animation in the first season of Demon Slayer I thought was very movie-esque, but this was like the best I've seen so far. It was also really cool to see Rengoku matched, essentially, if not having to fight someone who is possibly more powerful than him, because you saw his full potential in a lot of the fight. Akaza is also really interesting because he's like a hand-to-hand like martial art type fighter who has abilities similar to Demon Slayers. Like he's like essentially doing his moves and stuff, and that seemed very different than like a lot of the lower end demons that they've been slaying throughout the show, who have their fun little gimmicks and tricks that make every kind of mystery like, oh fuck, what do they do, I gotta figure this out, is interesting. But this dude's just like a full on, like, he's just fighting Rengoku and doing like his abilities versus Rengoku's abilities, and it's like it was a lot of fun to watch, though stressful, because I'm starting to sense in the show that they're like, Rengoku get fucking defeated here with this fight. And I
think this showed it off pretty well too, because like you said, he's fighting hand to hand, punching a sword,
which was fucking crazy. Yeah, because Rengoku's using his fucking sword doing like samurai shit, which I love, and they're fucking just going at it DBZ style, except for much better visually. And he's like fucking punching the blade and shit, and he's healing as it's happening. I'm like, that's fucking wild.
Yeah.
And so as this is going on, Tanjiro's just kind of on the ground, fucking watching, and like kind of disbelief, but also feeling helpless that he's got to get back up, he's got to get in the fight. Even Inosuke shows up, and he's just like, you're thinking like he's just coming through, he's gonna fucking just jump in and do his thing, but he's like having an issue even comprehending what's happening, and he realizes that even if he went in there, he's not gonna even be able to be effective. Which I thought was really interesting. So it's kind of left up to Rengoku and Akaza to figure this thing out. Shit gets really fucking crazy, and again, emphasizing great animation, great fucking fight. It's awesome to watch, but it gets emotional because fucking shit starts to get real, and Rengoku starts to take some hits that are starting to, he can't heal instantly like fucking Akaza, and he has to start getting, ambitious in his attacks, and he starts using more powerful attacks that are very flashy and cool. I love the way they emphasize abilities in Demon Slayer, because there's always like thick lining, and like it's really interesting. It just looks different than everything else. It's really eye catching.
Pops,
yeah. Long story short, though, they end up getting close enough where Akaza is able to punch through his fucking like stomach area, which is obviously a fatal wound, but fucking Rengoku is able to, I forgot, he ends up grabbing his other arm.
So at first he's like holding this arm, right?
Yeah.
I'm getting mixed up. And he's basically just tightening his muscles.
Yeah.
As to keep that arm in, and then so he goes to punch Rengoku in the head. He grabs the arm and stops it, and then whips the sword out and pushes it against his throat, and is just like trying to
which was
force it.
Fucking wild, because like the whole emphasis of the fight is like Rengoku's fucked. It's over, but he's trying to still accomplish his mission. But then it adds this element of like the sun's coming up, and there's an opportunity. If he can keep him here, and the sun comes up, he can defeat him, or take his fucking head off. He's just trying to do what he can fucking do, and it's really fucking intense.
Yeah.
I'm a grown man. I'm sitting here like, oh my fucking god, dude, I can't do this. And yeah, right at the last minute, Tanjiro and Inosuke both try to come in to assist. In that moment, Akaza acting like a fucking rabid wild dog, fucking like rips his own fucking arms off and shit, and starts taking off. And in his head, he's like, "Oh yeah, I beat him. I'm out of here." Tanjiro's also an honor bound kind of dude, so he's fucking going fucking insane because he knows what's happening. He ends up fucking throwing like a javelin, a fucking sword through the woods, right through Akaza's back, which was fucking dope. Freaks out like Tanjiro does sometimes when he gets emotional. He's an emotional guy, but that's fine. I like that about him. But he's freaking out, just screaming at the dude that he's a fucking coward. He fucking lost. He's running, all this shit. And that
they're always fighting on the demon's terms and never the
exactly.
other way around.
And fucking Akaza hears that and it bothers him, but he knows he's got to fucking go. So he keeps fucking cruising. Yeah, then we get a whole heartfelt scene where Rengoku talks with Tanjiro. Rengoku sees his mom. We get a flashback with, how he was raised and that essentially he fulfilled his duties. Very tearjerker shit. And he passes away. Yeah, and then...
That's pretty much it.
Yeah.
All the cleanups, technically the next arc,
So yeah, fucking Rengoku gets introduced. He's a likable dude. Even in the show, everybody likes him. That's kind of the thing. And then they fucking killed him off. And I was like, whoo, shit, okay, that's... there's some stakes. And anybody who knows me knows I need some fucking stakes in something for me to care about it. I can watch something and have fun with it. But if I'm going to care about something, I need there to be something to lose. And the show proved something can be lost.
Yeah. I agree with that 100%. Like, when I watch, like, anything... Mm-hmm. Obviously it's kind of just assumed that your cast is going to make it to the end. Otherwise you wouldn't have a show, right? But I can't handle when people are just like invincible.
Yeah, it's boring.
So
yeah, you better have like some funny comedy or some really cool fucking action sequences, because otherwise if the characters are just infallible, I mean, that's a big thing with a lot of Western media in general is infallible characters lately, and it's just like
I've seen a lot of isekais in Japan as well, where the character's just way OP.
I believe
it's fun in its own way, but I prefer like, in this case, by the end of the arcs, they're always all fucking beat up and like broken bones and like bleeding.
And there's a recovery thing, and that's honestly like nothing new, because even like back in the day, Dragon Ball Z did shit like that, where people had to recover and stuff like that, or people would straight die, but there's a respawn essentially where they can come back.
Yeah.
But yeah, to actually like lose a character, especially in the most perfect way for that character to go, in a way that's honorable, definitely hit the mark. That's what they needed to do, and they did it very well. Yeah, so it kind of ends there with the mission over. They stopped Enmu, but now they know this Akaza dude's out there, and maybe it was in the first episode of the next arc. But Akaza talks with Mugen and just emphasizes more how powerful Mugen is, because we saw Akaza do all that fucking damage to this high-end fucking demon slayer, and Mugen just fucking does like a force fucking ability at him and fucks him up.
Just throws wind at him almost. Yeah. I mean, I don't know what he's doing, but he just like motions pretty much.
Yeah. And so I'm like, okay. And it's weird too, and I'm sure I'll find out more about it, but like Mugen was like a dude at first, then he was a girl like later, and now he's like a kid in this fucking house.
I don't know
so it's like he's just experiencing different fucking ways of living. It's interesting.
Yeah, I'm not sure
maybe he's bored.
His regard, yeah, possibly. I was thinking though, because even with like Nezuko, from what we've seen so far, can change her size and stuff. She gets smaller and more childlike to fit in the box.
She get fucking baby hands, dude.
Yeah, and then when she's at her normal form, yeah. So obviously demons have that ability. It seems.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of a loose but long replay of what happened as best as I could remember. There's a lot that happened, so I forgot a couple parts. But overall, it was really good. I'm glad that my brain was like, when people were talking about Mugen Train, I'm like, whatever. Like, it'll be fun, whatever. But I don't know what the fuck they're going to do with it, because I was completely surprised by it. So yeah, when it comes to the animation, it was fucking stellar. The show is kind of ruining me right now. I don't know why we're watching it, because there's all those other animes I want to get into, and animation's not the most important thing, but it's definitely fucking impressive.
I mean, you are watching anime.
You
That's
are
kind of part of it.
100%. But I mean, I watched Pokemon as a kid, and that's like 8 frames per second. So there is levels to animation, and I will accept many of them. But I'm not really seeing a whole lot of people on this level. This is like animation I expect from like a production for a movie. Like it's really good. And this was a movie, to be fair, but we saw in season 1 really good animation a lot of times, specifically for like, fight scenes and things that are important. So top-notch animation, really enjoyed it. There was literally parts where I vocally was like, that was cool, just out loud. I'm not a guy who really talks my thoughts out often, and so like it's all internal. So if I'm just like sitting there watching something, I say something, like, I mean, obviously it was compelling enough to make me do that. So yeah, there's a couple times where I was just like, whoa, that's fucking crazy or whatever. So very cool. The arc itself, the story is very interesting. A lot of twists and turns, a lot of things I was not expecting, a lot of creativity. I thought the Inception part was really cool. I thought the fucking Rengoku and Akaza fight was dope as shit. I miss watching an anime and seeing a big spectacle fight and going like, holy fuck, that was like an event. And when I talk about this anime, that was one of those fucking situations where you're like, remember that fucking fight? Really good shit. Character development is fairly minimal, but I think the end will impact the characters in a way that'll be really interesting. Still really like the characters. I'm a big fan of them now at this point, so it is a driving factor for me to keep watching the show outside of, I know I'm going to see some cool fucking action. But, I'm liking Tanjiro, I'm liking fucking Nezuko, I like Inosuke, I like Zenitsu, I liked Rengoku, rest in peace. Yeah, I'm also really interested too on the next arc, because I don't remember his name, but they're going with him on a mission now, another higher end demon slayer who seems kind of like a shinobi type dude. Yeah, very interesting. So I like that we're getting, even though I don't like what happened with the last sampling, I like that we're getting samplings of these characters that we barely got introduced to in the first season, who my first impression was they didn't like Tanjiro and Nezuko's relationship as demon slayers. They didn't want her around, but it was eventually determined that she would be helpful, so they had to deal with it. And now we're seeing a lighter side of these characters. They're not just like, fuck you, we want to kill you. Yeah, so really interested in seeing that. We will continue watching because I really want to know what happens next. Yeah, action was awesome though. Characters were great. Obviously, the story was really interesting and full of surprises, which was a surprise for me. I'm very happy with that. I just figured it'd just be another demon on a train and you fight him and that'd be it. And that was some of it, but not all of it.
To at first, like when you first hear that, you think of things like what the hell is that Korean movie where they're all on the train?
Oh, Snowpiercer?
Yeah, Snowpiercer. You think of something like that, right? Or like the hallway fight scene in Old Boy or something like that.
That's
right?
what I was thinking.
Your brain kind of goes into that direction.
Which I love
Old
Old Boy.
Tube, and it just was not that at all. So
yeah. There was just, I was never bored, and I didn't guess almost any of it. Not that I'm sitting here trying to guess everything, but my expectations were, it was more than I assumed it'd be. So that's really cool. And again, I got to emphasize, really fun, creative scenarios that they introduced in this that I really enjoyed. And yeah, stakes. Things were lost and sucks. So that adds an element to the show that I'm really liking, because I like emotional situations. It's one of the reasons why I love Berserk, is there's stakes, there's things that are lost, there's characters you care about, you don't want bad things to happen to them, and this is achieving that for me, which is great, because a lot of anime I'm just like, this is cool, I like this, but it's not like, oh man, fucking this shit's getting real. Yeah, so I'll throw the ball to you. This is not your first time watching this.
No.
So if you want to share your thoughts on it.
Yeah, I mean, just kind of echo, what you said. I think they did a good job being the creativity. I think is probably the biggest thing for me on this arc, just because like, as I kind of said, the thought process behind like what are you gonna do on a train, doesn't usually actually involve the train proper. It's more so like what's gonna happen in the train, and this was definitely like the train.
Yeah, it was like a Monster Hunter fight.
Yeah,
It was like a big ass boss battle.
Pretty wild. I mean, obviously, kind of a goofy concept, but I think they did a good job with it and made it fun.
It should have been goofy.
Yeah.
When they're like, "Oh, he's the train," I'm like, "Really? You're gonna go that route?" But it was like creepy. They're inside of it, and it was like growing, and there's the little tentacles trying to like grab people, and
I'll say effectively the stomach of him, essentially having all these tendrils to try to eat the 200 passengers was a pretty crazy concept, and to see them have to basically defend against that as a demon that can regenerate, is being unaffected by it just being delayed, as they eventually will tire out is the idea, so
that was the rough thing too. When after Rengoku's dead, they're like, none of the passengers were injured, all 200 were saved. I'm like, God damn, the motherfucker even achieved his mission.
Yeah, no, he's a badass, and they really did a good job showing it. Without making him invincible as much as like obviously they did a good job of making you hate that he died. The fact that they did that, I think, speaks a lot too, because I don't people can die and stuff all the time and I might not give a shit, but they did a good job of developing his character and his personality.
In the short amount of time they did it too. Like,
it was like 7 episodes or whatever. So no, it was really well done in that regard. I also like that because we're out of the first season now, there's less explaining every little thing. And every medium has to do that. You have to know the world you're getting into. And so we're just getting into exploring the world at this point. And this was our kind of our first taste in it. And we're moving into, obviously, the next taste of it now.
Yeah, this was very in the moment story-wise. It was just that, like, when we were saying, like, an arc, like, that was the Mugen Train, what happened there.
Yeah,
it's an event. Like,
and I feel I don't read the manga, like I said, so I know the name of the next season, and it seems like that's just going to be the theme. There's just going to be this is this story, this is this story, and they happen in chronological order, obviously, but we are getting the in between period between these two arcs in this season at least. So I would be curious to see how they start the next season. I can't talk too much about that, obviously, but. Yeah. Anyways, I like the creativity. That's to go back to that. Probably one of my favorite things about this arc. Plus, being able to see the way they handle, like you had brought up before, when Tanjiro was waking himself up. Seeing him, like anyone, because it's this crafted thing. You want the person to stay in the dream, and so he's with his family, which is ideally what he would have wanted, and it was denied of him because of the demons. Going through that, slowly realizing, it wasn't real, and then having to like run away from them, while fighting off these emotions to want to stay with his family, and constantly being put in positions where he's being guilt tripped by them, to realizing he has to wake up. Hopefully killing himself doesn't kill himself in real life.
Yeah, that's so, kind of, I mean, we know he'll be fine, but like in that situation, but you think about his position.
Yeah, exactly.
He thinks this is a dream, but if he's wrong, he's
gambling.
He's gonna be dreaming for the rest of his life.
For sure. And then like to realize the whole time he's fighting on top of the train, and then later when he's fighting the train, and he's having to constantly wake up, he's just doing it over and over again. Like the willpower is pretty insane. And then you could tell like the demon was getting kind of sick of it, and so he changed the dream on him, and instead of it being his family being all nice, it was them victim blaming essentially, and like trying to make him feel bad, so maybe he'd fall into despair, and instead all it did was motivate him, because he's like, that's not my family, don't fuck with my image of my family. And I really like that too, because it's just like you can't fuck with my mindset. I know my family, that's not who they are. And now all you've done is piss me off. So
because he's misrepresenting and disrespecting his dead family.
Yeah.
He knows that's not how they are. So, yeah, it's a false representation. It's an insult.
Yeah. And then also, kind of a fun bit with this one too is when the demon was dying, we usually get like make them look like remember their past life type of deal. And in this case, It was just demon who wanted to be demon and only cared about power.
And I'm glad they did that because I never got the gist from that dude ever that he was like a decent person. He was like this gross dude who was like just wanted to fucking please Mugen and fucking he wanted to just be fucking evil. And so it made sense when he died. He was like just pissed that like he didn't take out Tanjiro.
Yeah. Or anybody.
Yeah.
He didn't get anything. So.
Yes, I remember he was saying he wanted to fucking kill him even as he was like, going away.
Disintegrating. Yeah. I like also the other people's dreams states, obviously Rengoku served as a vision for us to see his past and whatnot, but it was interesting that his body instantly was like something's wrong and grabbed the guy. Inosuke's was very typical of Inosuke. He was just, I'm ready to fight things, except for now, instead of him having to tell people they're his minions, they were his minions, following around while they were looking for things to kill in his dreams.
Yeah, and it got a little mixed, but I forgot when he was reacting to the person who invaded him, he was essentially like hunting them, like chasing after them and shit, and they're just running, or like, because they were like lost or whatever, and then he just like showed up, like he's gonna fucking...
It was just another target.
Yeah. That shit was funny.
And then, with Zenitsu, his whole dream was he had Nezuko, and they were frolicking about, and then someone tainted his sanctuary with their presence, and he got skipped over that super fucking creepy. So
I fucking loved it.
It is a wonderful difference of these characters that we get to experience in a very weird way, obviously, because like that wouldn't work if they weren't in their dreams. It just make the show goofy at that point. So, which it does a good job of breaking the serious moments with some very interesting faces that those characters make.
Dude, yeah, this show has like these faces that characters will make sometimes that are like very much of this show and this animation, and they're fucking hilarious.
Yeah. But I think that's something that's pretty good about in anime in general, is like they can take serious moments and go, okay, it's gotta chill people out a little bit, let's do a little goofiness. And
that is one thing anime is really, really good at, is being able to mix so many different emotional elements of like, this is comedy, this is getting serious. Like, that's something that is, I almost feels culturally integrated into anime, because a lot of people can do it really well. Whereas like, I would argue, Marvel movies have down how to have like, quick-witted banter, and then like action and comedy, but like I don't think they nail the emotional part as well. Whereas like in a lot of anime, they can get really emotional, where like 1 second, 5 minutes ago, you were like fucking, laughing, and now you're like, whoa, this guy might fucking die. Like, really, and these guys nail it with Demon Slayer for sure.
Yeah, I mean, really, the last thing I want to add to it is, obviously with the Rengoku fight at the end, with him fighting Akaza, is that his name?
Akaza, yeah.
I'm bad with names. I apologize.
Akaza.
When you first, especially the first time watching the fight, right? You watch it and he's just getting like limbs lopped off, his hand cut down the middle to the middle of his forearm.
That was fucking gnarly when he
flayed.
cut down the center.
And he just doesn't flinch. It doesn't hurt him. He doesn't care. He moves his hand. It instantly heals. It's just another day for the guy. Like, it's wild. I mean, we've seen instant healing already, but not really to this scale. Like, you can tell it takes like a drain on them to heal, because we've seen other people too where they're healing, and then like all of a sudden like the healing slows down, like type of deal. This guy just didn't give a shit. So, I also really like that. Like you said, we see how strong he is. He runs off because he has to. The sun will kill him. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Tanjiro throws a sword. It wounds the demon's pride, essentially, and he vows, like, I'm going to fucking kill that guy next time I see him. But then, he runs in at the beginning of the next arc when he's talking to Mugen, and fucking, he just is kneeling, his eyes are closed, he's being reprimanded, and he's obviously uncomfortable and being damaged, but he just is not, no back talk, no nothing, just sit there, take it, and he walks off, and then gets pissed. Yeah. And he doesn't even blame it on himself, he blames it on Tanjiro. So
yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that evolves.
Agreed.
between those characters.
Yeah, and then in 7 episodes, I feel like they did quite a bit. It's very impressive to me because they did more in 7 episodes than a lot of shows do in 13.
True.
And they're gonna do another arc within this still. So, kind of crazy. Though, I'm not saying that no one else has that kind of storytelling. That's crazy. Because I don't think Demon story is like insanely good. It just works for the show. Is a good catalyst to move everything forward. Really, it's the characters and the animation that the show really thrives on. So
yeah,
but yeah, it's good time. Obviously, I know the next season, so I'll try to not say too much. But I am looking forward to going through that again. So,
without saying anything, do you like Mugen Train or what's coming next better?
As a whole story, I think the entertainment arc is more entertaining for me. But I really like the Rengoku fight.
Yeah, it was really good.
Not that there isn't good fight scenes, obviously later, but like that was just it's a whole ass fight scene, pretty much. You know what I mean?
It was done really well.
But the next arc's really good. I liked it a lot. In fact, I meant to like watch a couple episodes here and there, and I ended up just binging it when I watched it. So.
I feel like when they made this into a movie, though, originally, before being like episodes, they knew they had to like do something big, and so it has a movie quality to it. Mugen Train it has a big finale, big stakes, crazy fucking boss battle and shit. And I'm not saying what's coming next won't have that. I don't know. I haven't seen it yet, but I think it's gonna be hard to. Maybe surpass this. They might do it easily. I don't know, but they did a really good job with Mugen Train. But again, it felt very cinematic. It felt like they're like making this thing you're gonna go see in the theater, and it had that kind of quality.
I will say, the next arc does still continue to surprise with the ideas it has. So I'm looking forward to seeing how you react to the situations that unfold, to be as vague as possible. Also, there's just a lot of characters involved now too with this arc. So, because even with the Mugen Train, I really liked it, but like our time with the side cast was mostly in the dream states. After that, and you saw Inosuke a lot, which I appreciate because he's one of my favorite characters in the show.
Yeah,
but you don't like Nezuko's kind of in it.
Yeah, she's barely there.
Zenitsu's kind of in it. Like, it's not a huge focus. It's definitely more about like Tanjiro, the demon, and Rengoku. Like that's the main focus. Yeah. So I think we get a little more mixed focus in the next season, which I appreciate. So, because that's one of my favorite things about Shonen is usually there's a cast of characters and you get all these cool different fight scenes based off all these different types of people, personalities, and abilities. So,
yeah, that is the biggest thing about. This did seem like just like an isolated scenario story wise, and we didn't get certain characters kind of shown as much. I am excited to see a more bigger spread of characters and dynamics and stuff like that, because that's like the one thing this was missing, but it's not even something I'm not even dock it for, because they nailed what they were going for with this. Sure. So I have no complaints on that front at all. But there's this wealth of characters in this show, and I want to see them, and especially all the I want to know now after seeing Akaza what the other top tier demons can do, because that was definitely worth it. And then the demon slayers who are all I forgot what they're fucking called, but the top tier ones of those, I want to see what they can do, because if fucking Rengoku got murked by this dude, and everybody respected him, these other demon slayers better be fucking on top of their shit. We already saw the moth chick who does some fucky stuff, but
poisons mostly.
Yeah,
because she's a doctor.
But we got all these demon slayers who, I haven't seen them fight, so I don't know what the fuck they can do. And a couple of them look like villains to me. I'm waiting for them to do some fucked up shit. So
I wouldn't put it past the show because like they're not. It's hard to call them like heroes as much as they're just like
they're part of a faction.
People with a joint goal in mind, pretty much.
100%.
So
I just know from anything, but in anime specifically, when you have large groups of people and some of the dudes look a little fucking weird, Sometimes they're just they're a type of character. Sometimes they're gonna betray people though, and some of the characters I'm like, I don't fucking trust these guys.
It would be interesting.
They look like villains, so we'll see. We'll find out. But sometimes you have a dude who looks like a villain might come off like a villain, but that ends up being a hero. So they could do the fucking switcheroo. I don't know, and I'm not gonna guess because I'm just gonna watch the show and find out. But
Sounds good.
yeah. Unless you have anything else to say on Mugen Train, let's grade it. I'm gonna grade it a confident, I think, A. I really liked it. I have no complaints about it. The only reason I wouldn't give it an A plus, I don't even know why I'm not really, but I don't know. It's kind of short. There's a couple things that could have saw some more Zenitsu, some more Nezuko, but it was really good. I liked it a lot. Had heart, had emotion, had fucking awesome fight scenes, had dope ass characters, had surprises. I was never fucking bored, and I pretty sure I like it more than season 1, and I liked season 1. So yeah, it was great. I definitely give it a confident fucking A. It was really good.
I mean, I'd probably agree with that. I think it would be an A plus if the God, I wish I was better with names. I've said it a million times already. The Dream Demon. If he would have
Enmu.
Yeah, if
I hope that's his name.
His style obviously is more about like a spider would. You put someone away and eat them later type of deal. But as like a fight scene, it's mostly just them hacking at chunks of flesh a lot of the time.
Yeah, it was that is a really good point. He plays second fiddle to Akaza, and he's the main part of Mugen Train at first. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so, and I didn't think he was boring, but like I didn't think he was that interesting of a villain. He's just like, oh, I'm evil, and his abilities are cool, for sure. And I liked that it allowed the Inception shit to happen. But
no, it was great. It's just like in the beginning is a good example when he's like being attacked by Tanjiro. Mm-hmm. And all he's really doing is dodging.
Yeah, he's not really proficient in combat. Yeah. He's just a trickster.
Which is fine. Mm-hmm. But, as a character type, it doesn't really speak to me a lot. Yeah. And so it doesn't grade as high for me.
If you had like a really good fucking villain, really in anything, it will make it much better. And he's all right. But Akaza was cool.
His abilities are cool, and they were definitely effective, and I enjoyed the situations that happened because of them. But, yes, the fight scenes was literally chopping off lumps of flesh and trying not to fall asleep from the eyeballs for the most part. Mm-hmm. And again, I'm not complaining. I gave it an A. But
yeah. So you are giving it an A.
Yeah, I'm giving it an A. But I do think a little more like combat, that they would have to defend against other than just being put to sleep would have been a little more exciting. So.
Yeah. I also like some investment on villains, and I like that Akaza has been introduced, so now we have a history with him when he comes back inevitably, which will make him a more interesting villain.
But also make character growth make more sense.
Yeah,
because his strength has been shown.
Yeah, and
so when inevitably we get him again and there's the fight, we'll have a good scale of how much character growth has happened.
Yeah, 100%, because he was impossible for Tanjiro to even think of fighting.
Yeah.
And then I'm assuming when they do fight later, because I know it's going to happen, there's going to be an actual fight to take place. Mm-hmm. So it will, yeah, it's a bar. It's showing progression. So yeah, 100%. And that is setting up a villain for me to be more invested in than like creepy guy who has interesting abilities but got fucking killed. Not complaining. I gave it an A.
The spider demons were way more interesting.
Yeah, 100%. There was like a dynamic. There was history. There was all sorts of stuff to it. There's some of them that you kind of felt bad for, and other ones you're like, yeah, that guy's a piece of shit.
For sure.
Much more to chew on. This dude was just like, I'm the most corrupted mentally of all the fucking lower rank guys, and I'm willing to do whatever the fuck you want, Mugen. Just give me a chance.
Just make me powerful.
And he juiced him up, and he's like, I'm going to do exactly what I said, and then get murdered.
Yeah. But yeah, it was fun, for sure.
Yeah.
He's kind of, character-wise, meh.
Yeah. Could have definitely pushed it to an A+, for sure. So, we both gave it A's. Really good. Really liked it. I'm very happy with where the show's out right now, and I'm definitely going to keep watching it because I'm really digging it. So,
And as much as I'm enjoying this, I'm looking forward to us getting through it so we can taste some other stuff because
yeah.
I have recommendations for days.
Yeah, and I'm gonna watch more stuff. So, and then I got other shows now coming out that I'm looking forward to. So, got to get cracking. Yeah, so let us know in the comments. What do you guys think of the Mugen Train arc of Demon Slayer? What would you grade it? What are your thoughts on what happened in it? Is there anything we missed that you wanted to hear us talk about? And if you want to, although we did review it already, you can tell us what you thought of the first season of Demon Slayer. Please, no spoilers on the next arc of Demon Slayer. I have not watched it yet. Chevy has watched it, and we want to go through it, and we will review it. So make sure to stay tuned and come back for that as well. And, of course, if you have any recommendations on things you'd like us to watch, could be anime, could be movies, could be TV, but I'm not really too into that, let us know. We're open to all that stuff. But, yeah, I've been Seth. This has been Chevy. Until the next episode, we'll see you guys later.